Yeah. Para lang just in case. Okay. Dami nating beginners dito, including me. All right. So just to do some intro, guys, once again, this is like a loose dynamic. We're going to build a community of programmers because Coach Seaver here has already helped several people to get job in the tech industry, and he's willing to continue that advocacy and that calling, you know, and we're very grateful to him for that. I believe this is a rare opportunity where everyone is welcome, essentially. So we're going to start really from the very beginning. Although maybe later on, some people who are more advanced or intermediate would like to share their experiences as well. We'll play it by ear as to how we can go about doing that. Maybe we're interviewing them from time to time. Also, we have some plan in place where we can meet periodically. Maybe whether that's a couple of months, every couple of months. We meet offline, you know, at the coffee shop, show each other or one another our projects, and just to have some accountability and camaraderie there. So that's what we are trying to crystallize. But at least we've started already. This is pre-recorded, by the way. This is going to be uploaded on Near Protocol Philippines official YouTube channel so that others can watch it later on if they have not been able to attend the live programs that we have. But essentially, we're putting out content anyways, whether people come or they don't, whether there's many or few, we're still going to record because people can have access to the replay later on, and they can still benefit from the content that Coach Seaver is trying to put out with us here. So that's basically it. But the eventual goal is for you guys to have your own projects or even work for blockchain companies or even Web2 or whatever that can sustain your livelihood. That's already great for us. Each one of us might have his or her own reasons why we started being part of this community, but at least that we have Coach Seaver here to assist us and to guide us, if you will. So that's basically it. You can invite more friends to come and benefit from this camaraderie here. And then that's it on my end. Coach Seaver, I think you can take over, but also if you can turn the view into gallery, I think it will be easier for Andy to edit it later on for some reason. He just told me that gallery mode, especially when you're screen sharing.
All right, no worries. All right, so based from last week, right? Basically what we talked about last week was to look at, let me share my entire screen instead. So last week what we talked about was we need to first identify what type of application we actually want to build, and I hope, you know, I'm gonna repeat the same thing. I hope no na pinag-isipan niyo na kung anong gusto niyo gawin, right? Tech at the end of the day is just an enabler, right? It is a scalability solution, but it is not the business itself. If you want to fix a problem, tech is not the only solution you need. You still need to learn how to be able to make profit out of your idea. Whether what idea you have, you know, you have to make money from it. You have to learn how to be able to make it sustainable. You know, you need to be able to basically fix a problem or solve a world problem that you have. So coming off from that, already guys, what I want is, you know, throughout this course, you already have an idea of what you want to build. And hopefully, when we're probably a few months down the line, or maybe the end of this year, we could have a session where we all showcase what we want to be able to do, and of course have it coded a bit. So we'll take it slow. I mean, most courses out there, most boot camps out there take 24 weeks to be able to discuss the entire thing, and that's done on part-time. With us, of course, it's just an hour, but ideally here what happens is you really do a lot of your own research and do a lot of your own self-study, because honestly the best developers out there are those who self-study and those who are able to read stuff online and be able to comprehend what's happening online. So as I've discussed as well in the group, is that the first thing that we're going to be talking about is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Bootstrap. Why are we talking about HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap? In Web3 right now, basically, you have what we call the front end and then the smart contract side of things. So creating the front end, this already brings a lot of value to you because even in Web 2, they already use web apps. So it's as simple as, you know, being able to use it and being able to get a better idea of how to use, being able to code HTML, CSS. Those are very simple. Those are very simple things. So we'll go through this together. This is the reason why we're going through this is because there's already a lot of fundamentals that you will learn, even just reading the first few paragraphs. So if you're a web developer designer, it's essential basically to have your own portfolio website. It basically allows people to see what you can actually develop on. Personally, I am not a designer. All right, I hate designing. I'm not good with, you know, how do I say this? Making things look good. I'm not good with that. I'm good at making things work, right? So with me, you know, if I really want to be able to showcase my own portfolio, personally, I don't have my own portfolio website, so this is also going to help me in a way. But if I want to showcase my portfolio, I want to showcase how I do mathematics, right? How I think when it comes to machine learning, how I'm able to approach development of websites. But first and foremost, you can already see that, you know, they're telling you that, hey, it's really good that you learn how to create a responsive website. So a responsive website, basically what it means is I can change this content over here and it moves, right? So it's the important thing that we have to remember is no matter what screen size you have, you're able to support it. Because again, with web, a mobile phone can access it, a desktop can access it, a tablet can access it, all of them can access it. But with here, you can already see that it changes, right? So it's a good thing. First step to be able to actually learn development is you have to right click on the website and use inspect. So if you're using Chrome, you already see that you can actually change the dimensions of the website. This is what we call Chrome Dev Tools, okay? So first and foremost, you can already change it. If you have an iPad Air, this is what it looks like. You can change the dimensions here. If it's responsive, you can basically change the size, make it bigger, smaller, however you want. But usually you already have the sizes of the phones here. So you have the iPhone SE, let's say you have Galaxy A51. Nest Hub is basically 1024 by 600. That's the size of a usual laptop screen. If you're using a Max One, 1280 by 800. So all of these screens, you can research it. It's a matter of screen sizes for web apps. You can already see all of the responsive design resolutions, right? Where's that? Where is that? Okay, it's not. Okay, yeah, it's just here for some. Anyway, you can already see that stats wise. 8% uses 190 by 1080, 8% use 1366 by 768, etc., etc. So you can see that, you know, as you go along, as you develop, I think this is why don't they tell you? Here. As you can see, you have to support all of these websites. You have to support all of these devices because you can't just make your website work with 1920 by 1080. Because that means you only capture 9% of the market. 9% is very small, right? Compared to the 100. You need to capture all of them. So if you capture all of them, I think this one amounts to around probably 35%, not that big, right? So as much as possible, you're able to do all of them. That's the gist. So what we call it is screen sizes. Responsive design, the idea there is you're able to develop for all types of devices. And that's very important for a front-end developer. You are showcasing your portfolio website to everyone. So as much as possible, you have to make everyone be able to like see your website the right way, right? So you'll see that in here, it tells you about the benefits of having a portfolio website. I'm pretty sure you guys know that. Bootstrap, in a way, it's a framework. It's a very popular front-end CSS framework. There's only two front-end frameworks out there. It's called Bootstrap and Tailwind. But Bootstrap in a way is a framework. So what a framework does is it already allows people to easily develop on top of already built code before. What do I mean by this? So if we check the documentation here, you can already see that if I were gonna be doing layouts and things like that, like containers, things like that. What's a good example of grids? Example. Okay. All right. So as you can see here, you have the columns, right? So by just doing these lines of code, container, row, call, if I were to make it more responsive and I just make it smaller, you can see that the entire website changed. The columns are still there. They automatically shifted, right? They automatically made it smaller. Before it was like this. So see how it's changing. If you make it smaller, then simply put, it squeezes in, and then you're able to see that it's still all supported. So this means that, you know, if we were going to be building a website that is that we want to make it in a grid system, this is like one of the best frameworks out there. But you know, that's a quick explanation of what Bootstrap does. It makes it basically easier for you to be responsive. So why do you want to use frameworks? It's work that's cut out for you, right? Try to make your work as small as possible. Try to be more efficient. So utilize already existing frameworks or libraries. And then by utilizing those frameworks and libraries, those are code that was built by other people. Just use it. That's great. Next is, as we can see here, GitHub. So if I were going to be clicking this, GitHub is basically a place where people store their code, right? People store their code in a way where it allows other people to copy, to fork, as we would call, to clone as well. And please do tell me if I'm getting too technical, because I need to catch me on that. But basically, GitHub is a place for you to share code, right? So as you can see, it's public. I personally have a lot of repositories that are private, so I don't really share it to everyone. But there is basically this is already public, so you can already utilize it. So here, what we can notice is that we can actually, where's that? We can, where add file? No, it's not add file. Fork, not fork. We can. Okay, wait. Where is the clone button? Because they would usually give me the clone, or maybe master. Okay, this is weird. Give me a while. There should be a clone repository button here. Okay, wait. Let's do it this way. Super. Anyway, usually there's this clone repository button, but you know what? I'll fork it. I'm gonna create a new fork. So I'm basically gonna be doing it on my own repository. So when you fork something, it's basically a copy of the repository, which allows you to basically make changes on it. So I think he put some, he basically created some restrictions that I can't clone it, but let me create a repository. So now that I have it, oh, maybe it's this. No. Bakit wala yung clone button? Wait lang. Where is that? Clone setup sponsor. Okay, obviously came in a little bit more less prepared than supposedly. But you clone a repository, you are supposed to be able to technical difficulties. Where is the clone? You know what? I'm gonna Google that. Clone repository. Did they change it? See, as you can see, it's supposed to be there. Like the code is supposed to be there. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand why it's not there right now. Moderation options, branches. See, even I still Google right now because I have no idea why it's not there. This is so weird. Okay, manage. Okay, this is weird. Okay, oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, that was weird. The code button showed up. Oh, what the? Okay, I swear a while ago it wasn't there. Ay nako. Ay nako, it's weird. Anyway, let me go back to my repositories. Let me go back to Portfolio FC. So code is showing up right now for some reason, but what you want to be able to do is you're able to git clone, right? So you're able to git clone. So what do you do with cloning a repository? Basically, the idea here is you're supposed to be able to git clone. So one other thing, I know it's getting a little bit more complicated, but first things first, the first thing you need to download for the local to run things locally is you need to have Git. So this is the first thing, GitHub. You can already see the docs. Downloading Git, let's say downloading Git. So download Git, you can already download it here. There's already support for Mac OS, Windows, Linux, up to you guys, whatever you want to use. There's also GitHub. Sorry, not GitHub, download. So you can download GitHub Desktop, right? So this is where you can download for Mac OS. If you're using Windows, you can download for Windows. If you're using Linux, I think it also shows up as Linux. This is all free, right? So that's the good thing about it. Next thing that you need to download as well is one of my favorite, what I would call IDEs, which is Integrated Development Environments, Visual Studio Code. All right. This one, Visual Studio Code, feel free to download as well. So as you can see, there's Linux, Windows, and Mac OS. All right, so let's say, you've already downloaded Visual Studio Code, you've already downloaded GitHub. That's a good thing. You've done all of those. Great. So let's go on and clone it. So I already have a Visual Studio Code open up. There's a small button here called Clone Git Repository. Why are you not working? Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. Clone from this URL. Okay, I am gonna store it in my downloads folder. Just store it here. It's cloning, as you can see. All right, so I can open it. Yes, I trust the authors. All right, so we already have what we call the code in local. So the thing with this is it is all of the things that were in his website. So if we go back here, look at their index.html, right? It's all here. It's all located here. That's a good thing. So if you look, it's exactly the same thing. So, Brad is still here. Same thing, Brad is still here. So I basically copied this code over. So now you can say the code is mine. So if I just change as simple as, I make this Seaver, for example, the code is already mine. How do I know I changed it? It's as simple as open with, fine, reveal in Finder. And I open this in Brave. All right, there we go. As you can see, it's written here, Seaver, right? That's a cool thing about it. Hi, it's me, Brad. If I were gonna be changing something, hi, it's me, Seaver here. Bam, hi, it's me, Seaver, right? So I've already copied this code over. It already helps me jumpstart my portfolio website. Now, that's the first step, really. Once you already have the code, play around with it, change some stuff. Don't be afraid to break things. The most fun part about web development or doing HTML, CSS, things like this. The fun part about it is it's very reactive. I do a simple change such as I am based in the Philippines. And I just reload, it already shows me I am based in the Philippines. Very simple, right? So the biggest idea that when you talk about a website is that natively your browsers, the way it communicates is it's done through HTML. So when you have a browser and you look at this, you already see that, okay, wow, I can already change stuff. It already shows on my browser. And even if I just move it, right, it's already working. So I basically copied code and now I have a cool website that I can already use, right? Simple as that. But let's go back to the, where is that? Free code camp. Responsive web design. All right, let's go back there. So now that you have it, play around with it. Really, it's a fun thing to do. Okay, this is not the. Wait lang. Sorry. Give me a while. Free code camp, Bootstrap. There we go. Creating a. All right, let's go back here. All right, so we now have basically Git cloned it, and we can already see that it's already up and running. If you notice in this live demo, it's running on Netlify. And as you can see, it's different as this one, right? This one shows index.html, but this one doesn't know the index.html. Literally one of the same websites. So the reason why is actually there are some standards in web development, right? So if you have the term index, that's basically where all the code starts. So a tip when you're reading someone else's code is to always start in index or app.js, things like that. Those are where everything starts. This basically index.html, I change anything here. This one changes whatever I need to show, right? So folder structure, we're done with that. All right, so index.html, again, that's the main file. Just to give a bit of very technical explanation, when we have this, we can already see that there's style.css, we have index.html, and then we also have script.js. So all of them are there. But to explain everything, the folder structure consists of index.html, style.css, blah 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 blah. Doesn't really help. It's all very technical terms. But let's go here. Right now, let's work on adding a navigation menu in our project. So what is a navigation menu? The navigation menu is things like this, right? If you go to Facebook, for example, let's go. It's a nice website to look at. You know what? I'm gonna show Edamama, one of the websites that we built. So if we were going to edamama.ph, wow, that is taking a long time to load. All right. If you go to edamama.ph, the first thing that you'll see is that the logo is always at the upper left. And I'll show you a lot of websites so you guys have. The logo is always at the upper left, right? Navigation is always here. If we go back to the portfolio website, this is my brand logo. Navigations are here. If we go to, give me another website, Lazada, let's say. I also load Shopee already. Shopee.ph. We go to Lazada, you can see that the navigation is again here. The logo is always at the top left. And then you can also see the navigation here, right? So it shows you all of the stuff that you can do. So if you want to go to Help Center, you can go there. Let's go to Shopee. Shopee has the exact same thing. Top left is your brand, and this is where you put things. So you may be asking the question, who decided this? Who thought about this? Who decided that, logo should be at the top left and then the navigation should be at the right? Well, honestly, if I were to tell you, it is because us as humans got used to the first e-commerce website that Amazon built. So because people keep seeing the same thing over and over again, we have now standardized in a way that brand is always at the left, navigation is always at the right. Funny, right? But it's a standard that was built. This is not written somewhere that this is the e-commerce standard. But if you want to read more about this, this is about UI UX, user interface and user experience. But going back, all right, Navbar, the idea behind it is that you're supposed to be able to go to places with it, right? You're supposed to be able to navigate the website, right? navigation, if we think about it, basically, kung saan ka pwede pumunta. Yun lang naman yun eh. So if we really go back to our website, this is the one running on Netlify. Again, it's important to look at the URL so you know which one's running here. This one tells you that this one's running on Netlify. This one tells you that it's running on the index.html. So if we're going to play around with this, if we do services, it scrolls me back down and shows me that, okay, this is my portfolio. If we click services, it shows me that, okay, I can do website development, website design, website deployment, SEO, DevOps, QA, whatever. If we go to contact, just scrolls down. Other more complicated websites, of course, would throw this section to another place. So Navbars, that's what they do. In HTML5, we already have what we call nav. If you research nav HTML5, it already tells you that the nav tag is a standard that sets navigation links, right? So this standard is very supported by the top most browsers use. So we have Google Chrome, Explorer, things like that. They all use it. So if you see the patterns that are happening, you see that there's a lot of standards that are already being set by the languages that you have. It's a matter of following them and then utilizing those standards to your to what you need it to be, right? So let's say I want to build this website. The first thing that I really want to focus on is I want to change this and really talk more about talk more about what I do, right? So first and foremost, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna get rid of all of this. I'm just gonna have portfolio probably. I don't want to put my services there. I don't want to put my contact as well. Simple as that. Save it. What happens? And it's gone, right? So as you can see, if we look here, this one you can already follow that. Container, navbar, navbar UL. All right, so here the nav item, right? It already shows me all of it there. If you look at this simply, if you read the code, navbar, fixed stop, navbar dark, navbar scroll. If you look at here, navbar, navbar expand, fixed stop, navbar dark, navbar scroll. So you may be asking, all right, where are these coming from? Like, where are these terms coming from? So we go back to Bootstrap. What we realize is that if we go to Bootstrap, so I think we're using Bootstrap 5. It's written here, Bootstrap at 5.1.3. Bootstrap 5. If we go to, let's search the documentation, right? Navbar. There we go. Cool. All right, so as you can see here, it tells me that if I want to make the navbar light, right? I just have to put the light word. All right, so let me try that. Let's try that, right? Let's put this light. What happens? Oh, look at that. My text disappears because navbar light, what it does, if we read about it, navbar light, PG light, navbar light text, I think here, text. All right. Navbar, this just a horizontal for strings. No, it's not telling me why it's using. Oh, there we go. All right. Color schemes. All right. It tells me here that choose from navbar light for use if you're using light background colors, right? And if you want to use it on dark background colors, then you use navbar dark. So it already tells you here that as much as possible, if you're going to be using a navbar light, you're supposed to be using a darker shade. So let's copy this over. Let's copy that. Where is the color? Navbar brand. Okay. Oh, okay. So let's say I make the style here. I change the background color to white. All right. Let me go back here. Change it to white. There we go. Now you can see it. So this means that navbar light, when you use it, you are supposed to use it for light background colors. If you want to do dark background colors, then you use Navbar dark. So again, we go back, we decide that, you know what, I don't like the light, I don't like this light. Let me just use dark. And so you're able to manipulate it to your liking, right? So it's pretty cool. You may be asking, how did I know? Well, again, it's a matter of reading code, right? It's all here. There's no magic. All of this is located online. That's the key here. It's all located online. It's a matter of just communicating with the computer and it telling you that, hey, this is the Navbars, this is the Navbar, and this is what it's supposed to do. So let's try to focus on Navbar scroll. All right. I think this one is an interesting one. Navbar scroll. There we go. Navbar scrolling. So add nav scroll to a navbar nav to enable vertical scrolling within the toggleable contents of a collapsed navbar. By default, scrolling kicks in at 75 VH. VH stands for 75% of viewport height. You can also override this, right? If you want to make it, something else. So as you can see, there's a lot of like words that are popping out right now. But the good thing is you can copy and see what it actually does. Right. So if I were going to be taking out navbar scroll, you can notice that if I scroll it, it's just there. It stays there. So if I were going to be taking out the fixed stop, it does not, nothing happens. Like you don't even see it anymore. So all of these changes have an explanation. Right. You can simply also undo things, right? If you make a mistake. But first and foremost, just play around with the code. It's pretty cool. So now it's telling you navbar scroll. All right. So what is this important for? If you look at here, navbar scroll, it tells you that display background color black on navbar scroll. So when you talk about navbar scroll, what it does is scrolling, navbar overflow, navbar scroll, responsive behavior. Where is the collapse navbar? Trying to find the docs that tells me that navbar scroll is supposed to relate to that. So I can't find the docs, but as you can see, it's here. Navbar scroll dot navbar dark color on navbar scroll. Navbar scroll. Let me find the call. Navbar. So it's all right. So it's not telling me stuff as well. Why is this? All right. So I'm not really sure where navbar scroll is getting. Navbar scroll. Percent top 100. We turn it to navbar dark. Nope. Okay. All right. I'll skip that. I'm not really sure where this is pertaining to. But if I were to take this out, what basically happens is if I were to scroll, if I were to scroll, you can notice that the background doesn't turn black anymore, right? It's as simple as that. So that's what it does. So let's go down. We're already done with the nav bar. You can change stuff here. As you can see also, we have what we call the A link here. So if we're going to be reading about A link, HTML5. A HTML5 defines a hyperlink. So if you want to use it, where is that? Here. All right, here. Tells you that it goes to section 2, right? So you can link to another section on the same page. Let's try it ourselves. Go to section 2. If I click go to section 2, it just immediately goes down, right? So same thing here. If I wanted to change, all right, so let's say I want to change it a bit. If I wanted to make this go to about, so maybe wondering where is this from? We search about, shows that the about, we can see that the ID here is about. So hashtag in HTML, what does it mean? Okay, no. ID in HTML. The ID attribute tells you that the ID attribute specify a unique ID for an element HTML, right? So the value of ID attribute must be unique within the HTML document. So let's try to break the rules. Let's say this is about what's gonna happen. What was it? So it tells me, doesn't tell me. Oh, that's how she's supposed to air out. Tells me that I have named 2 places. Name this about, and then, oh wait. Let's make this about. Let's make this about. All right, so I set 2 things, right? So I set 2 things as about. If I click about, it automatically goes here. So as you can see, it's kind of confused. It's telling me that you already click about. So why are you clicking about again? If I click this, goes back to the first about. So it can tell you that if you were gonna be doing it on, you're free to make the idea here is that you're actually making mistakes, right? So here you can already read that it's supposed to be a unique thing, right? But if it's not unique, what happens is it goes to the first instance. We change this to services again. We supposedly change this to, let's say, home instead. And let's change this portion to about and this portion to services. Say, let's do that. All right. Again, if we look at the code, this one is supposed to href2. Let's say this one goes to about, this one goes to, right, about, this one goes to home. All right, so if we click about, it goes to the services page because I defined it here that services is about. So as you can see, HTML is coding is literally telling this guy, this dumb guy, to follow your moves, right? So if honestly you make a mistake, it's your fault. So if it's not following your logic, you're like, huh? What ganun yung behavior niya? It's not magic. Literally because you coded it that way. That's why that's happening. So again, as you can see, I'm doing already a lot of changes. I hope it's not confusing you guys, but I'm taking it extremely slow. Right. So let's go back to changes back to services. Right. So that's a key thing. That's the HTML ID attribute. Whenever you do nav links, the idea there is it goes to the same section. We'll of course be talking more about how do I make this into a different page, for example. But let's see if time permits. No. So now that we're here, hi, it's me, Siver. I'm based in the Philippines. I think this is pretty simple. You can already tell that this is the content. If you want to do list, kayo na bahala dyan. I don't want to teach you guys there. This is basically content. But what I want to focus on here is this particular session, this particular section. So if we were going to be reading the docs, what it tells me if I'm going to be using the grid layout. So let's talk about the grid layout. Grids. All right, the grid system tells me that there's a container and then there's a row, then there's columns, right? 6 responsive breakpoints. That's what it's telling me. There are 6 different sizes, right? So there's the extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, extra large. So I'm gonna make a big change here. So one of the styles that I like to do is if you wanna really look at the setting the background color, let's say this one into black, and then I open another one, div class, and then my style here is I want to set it to background color white, right? And I'm gonna just copy the same thing, just whatever. And I'm gonna make this into column LG6. If it's column MD6, column SM6, col SX6, hero text. So I'm gonna do the same thing, hero text. You'll get a better idea of what I'm doing later. Just give me a while. All right. So let's reload our website, see what that did. So as you can, where's the black? Why is the black one not there? Row. Let me container fluid. Let's change this container. It's not showing up because row BG image. I don't like this. Okay, let me take this up. So that. Ooh, okay. It is requiring me because BD image 100 VH. Okay. This is a bad example. Let me just do this 100 VH. Let me just take this out so that it doesn't show. All right. 100 VH is still there. Why are you not showing? Column 6. Text. All right, this is how you debug. Okay, it's literally on top of each other. That's why it's not showing. So what's happening right now is basically the white one is showing on top of the black one. So let me go back to my grid system. All right, it's telling me that I am supposed to not set the. Okay, now I know what I did wrong. Let's make this into a column. So I'll delete all of that. Let's make this into a column as well. All right. All right, there we go. Okay. Why is it showing? I have this whole row, but you are not cooperating with me. Row, did I change something now? No? Okay. Interesting. Grid system, max. See, even though I'm a pro, I'm still figuring things out because something is not making sense. 1 out of 2. Do a container. Call. The size of this, let's say, width. I think it's lacking the width. That's why. If that's the case, then I'm gonna. Okay, with 100%. Okay, di nagpalit. Nice one. Bakit? Container. Tama naman ah. Container. Container. Wait. Layout grid. Containers. Which sets at max width at each responsive breaking point. Content here. The thing with this is sometimes it's really easier just to move your own code because there's some code here that is probably trying to destroy the code that I have, which is why it's not working. Nag-section ako, tapos container ko to. Nag-container rin ako dito. Kita ko to. Container section. Bakit? Bakit ka nang-pad lang sa taas? Flex row? What? This doesn't make sense. A lot of it is just this, guys. A lot of it is just this. It's me figuring out why it is not working. Row, align item, start. Baka kulang ng isa pang row. Hindi naman. Kasi kung nag-set ako ng column. Flex one. Okay. It's actually easier for me just to. I'm wondering why it's not working because it's supposed to be working. Div. Style background color white BG image. Is it because of section? I think it's because of section. Yeah, I think it's because of section because section is basically blocking. Fine. Alam ko na. Display flex. Flex 1 with container ko to display style display flex. The hell is this? This is why it's frustrating to code, guys. This is exactly why it's frustrating to code. Display flex. So this is also a tip. You can change it so that you kind of know why it's not working. So instead of coding on the, you can just click, and this is annoying, guys. Okay, you know what? I am going to say, I'm going to create a new one called about.html. This is where I'm going to set it up because that is annoying. So it tells me that, okay, I'm just going to copy this over. We're going to need all of that. HTML close tag. I don't want to waste too much time just trying to make it work. So I'm going to just open a new one. So again, what I'm going to do here is about.html. All right, so it's exactly doing the exact same thing, which is why I don't understand. Maybe my body. Oh, wait. Is it this? Whoa, okay, wow. Oh, okay. Okay, I see why. Okay, kaya pala. All right, so this is what was happening. So just to inform you guys, the reason why hero text was causing this to malfunction was because if you notice, hero text has this position absolute, which was making sure that it always stays in the middle. That's what it was doing. That's why I couldn't figure it out. But you know, that's beside the point. So these are the things that you have to remember. When you code, really, there's something that you need to delete so you understand. But let's go back here. So you can see here that there's a white and the black. If I'm going to be adding another scroll style, background color red, right? Let's take out the text. Wala naman yan kwenta. Ay, naku, yan na naman tayo. Ay, yun pala. Okay, joke lang. Ay. Sorry, this is what I like doing. There we go. So it needs to have some content. So as you can see, it tells me that it shifts to 3, right? So I make this into 4. It became 4. So let's make this blue. Right? And if I were going to be shifting it like that, it automatically goes smaller and it creates, see that? It's pretty cool. If I make this smaller, immediately moves around. I didn't have to code that, right? So that's the cool thing about it. So if we make this, like, for example, with 100px, let me also copy this over here with ay, mali. Yan. So as you can see, pag nag-lag ka ng height, lumaki siya. If we check this, it tells me that there's an element style that does it color blue. I can turn it off. I can also turn this off. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, because all of them have height. So if I'm going to be pressing all of this height, I turn off all of the height, you will see it go smaller, right? So it's those interactions that you can see. All right, next. So now that you have that, you can also, what you can do, interesting thing is you can just set this actually to about.html. And if you notice, if I go back to index and it still has the wrong website, let me return this image para makita nyo. Where was my previous code? So it was right. Code na yun. So it was right. github.com/portfolio website. Yep. All right. So I just go back to what it was before. Here we go. It has this background relative, so it doesn't change too much. I'm gonna replace this. Goes back to where it was before. There we go. We click about, it goes to about.html, right? So pretty cool. So we click about, goes to h.html. This is what you can do with href. All right. So those are the basics when you're really reading code. It's breaking things and making things work again. As you can see, a while ago, I was having a hard time realizing, what was the actual mistake. But that's because it takes a lot, right? So the thing with the thing with code is that, again, you're not the one. It's not magic. There's something wrong in the code. You just have to find out. So kanina ko lang na-realize na tong hero text pala nagsisira. So if honestly a while ago nakita ko na to, then it's a good thing, di ba? If that wasn't happening, then gumagana yung gusto kong mangyari, right? So those are the things that you would have to realize. Next that I would like to focus on, I think that's generally it, right? That's generally it. Even though we didn't really move a lot, as you can see, but that's the thing. That's why developers take a long time to debug, to make things work. When I was typing out styles, background HTML, background color, kasi as I tell you, I'm not a front-end developer. All of these are already placed in my brain. So, for example, itong style na to, saan ko yan nakuha? Ito, if you HTML attributes. So if you read about HTML attributes, it tells me about style. Di yan yung style na gusto ko. Di yan. Ayan, dito. Specifies an inline CSS style. Right, that's what it's telling me. So what's the difference between inline and not inline? Simply like this. Let's go to about HTML again. So let's say I add a new color, BG color red. Sabihin lang natin gano'n, no? So pag dito, ginawa ko lang, naglagay ko ng BG color red. BG color red. Background color red. Background. Tanggalin ko na to. Sabihin natin yan. Mangyayari lang is, okay, let me go here. Naging red na siya. If I was gonna be doing it, why is this better? As you can see, fewer lines of code, right? I don't need to write all of these stuff. No need to write all of these stuff anymore. Instead of having to write, how many characters is this? 1, 2, sabihin natin, nandito sa baba. 59 characters, I simply reduced it to just ilan to? 11, di ba? So I saved a lot of characters. So by saving a lot more characters, it's much more simple. But in essence, nandito na siya. So sabihin natin na ginawa ko siyang lahat red, di ba? Naging red na lahat. Gusto ko lagyan ng width 100px, yung tinagal natin kanina, height 100px. It applied to everyone na. So those are just ways to optimize when you code. All of these shortcuts, you'll eventually appreciate it because you don't want to write code again and again. Imagine mo parang kung kailangan mo i-copy-paste lahat yun again and again, edi sobrang haba na, di mo na maintindihan. If we were going to be comparing this code versus this code, which one's cleaner? Diba? So yung kanina, mas clean siya. Hindi mo na kailangan sulatin lahat yun. So that's the advantage of why people code a little bit shorter. Right? So I think that's the session for today. The idea here is, one, you find whatever Bootstrap that you want. It's all here. Bootstrap 5. Read about it. How did you load it? Here. Dito mo siya na-load. Kung naglagay ka ng Bootstrap link, makita mo na. Getting started. Introduction. Literally, sasabihin niya sa'yo, copy-paste the link into your head so that it loads the CSS. That's what it tells you to do. Hence why we did this. Right? So, nag-link na siya kagad. If you want to do changes on style.css, do it here. Right? So the challenge next week is to really play around with this. Play around with how you want it, how you want it to be done. Explore. Ideally, of course, you make this website up to a certain point where it's very yours. Expected is you make your own about.html. Play around with yung ano man nakasulat dito sa nakasulat dito sa Bootstrap. Next time, I know this is basically to talk about CSS muna. That's how HTML and CSS talk to each other. And that's how Bootstrap. We haven't reached JavaScript yet, but I think that's all of the time that we have right now. Can't believe that took an hour. But yun lang muna, right? Let's focus on that. Ideally, you are able to create your own web. You're able to create your own web page. Break the website. Please break the website. The best engineers are those who can break it and then build it back up to their own liking. So break it lang. Don't be afraid. As in, what's the worst thing that can happen to your computer? Nothing. You're literally just breaking this index.html, diba? So sinira ko na siya. Good for me. If I want to change it back, well, I can just simply go back to this and then restart from the very start. Right? So there's a lot of things for you guys to learn. Just to give a quick recap. One, nandito pa na tayo sa start. One is why responsiveness is important. It's because there's a lot of devices. Two is Nav Bar in a way. Three is how do you do GitHub, right? GitHub, you also have Visual Studio Code. You can also see like the live demo here. Nandito siya. And you can also see how it interacts. So all you need to do pala, yung ginagawa kanina, I press save and then I just press this and then press enter. So I reload the website para mag-reload siya. So ideally, your browser can already interact with HTML properly. Very simple lang. I know that's the first session, but after this, what I want is to get more of your feedback, please. If this is too slow for you, then let's speed it up a bit. But if we speed it up a bit, what I can say is baka there's a lot of ideas na nami-miss nyo na and then baka hindi nyo na maintindihan. Tapos, baka hindi na maka-catch up. So if it's too slow, please do tell me. If it's too fast, please also do tell me. But again, the important thing is right-click, inspect, Chrome DevTools to. Some tips to be able to work faster. You can turn off your styles here. You can see it's written here, fix stop. So if we go back to styles.css, joke lang, di pala dyan. If I go to fix stop, I think it's here. Fix stop. Okay. Yeah, so it tells me about fix stop. So position an element at the top of the viewport from edge to edge. Be sure you understand the ramification of fixed position in your project. So meron pa yan madaming concepts, position, flex, display flex, etc. It's all in Bootstrap. Take a read on it. The best way to learn from me is being able to copy someone else's code, break it, bring it back up, modify it to your own liking. Once you've modified it to your own liking, then you're okay. So yun lang muna kasi please mute yourself. PG primary. All right. So, yun lang naman. For now, nothing yet to deploy it on website, things like that. I think that's too complicated to really talk about. But principle setting, right? One, have a GitHub, have your VS Code. Next time, I won't be talking about that anymore. Read about Bootstrap. if next time I write some Bootstrap stuff that you don't understand, that's on you, not on me. So once I start doing all of the column shit and all of that, you're really gonna have to read about the Bootstrap documentation. All right. Aside from that, I think, is there any other questions that you guys want to talk about? Ideally, what we're gonna be doing next time, siguro let's do a UI of a calculator. That's an interesting thing to think about. A UI of a calculator. So you can already see that meron kang text box, right? And then meron kang mga it's a good calculator to look at. Calculator. Actually, wait. Calculator app, search ako online. Calculator UI. Let's try to copy a calculator UI. Website. Siguro, yan, parang ganito. So, grid layered siya. The reason why you do a calculator app, it's grid layered. You can see that there is one whole major column here. I don't know if you can see me. You can see my mouse, no? But you have yung sa top, it takes out this entire column. The text box also takes out this entire column. Sa baba, you can see na may smaller, right? And then the right, may isa pang smaller. So that's hopefully your homework. I just need you to try to make this type of UI work. Kahit ganito lang. See if you can make it work. Don't need for the rounded corners. Basta it is, you have to remember, it is responsive, right? So, and actually, wag mo na responsive. You just make this layout work in a simple desktop layout. Then I think we're okay. We could start with siguro yung height nyo 50% of the viewport, and then your width is also 50%, and then you add margins to the right and left lang na 25%. You also add margins sa top and sa bottom ng 25%. That should center the entire thing. So yeah, that's it. Please do give me feedback. I want to know if this is too slow or this is if the pace is okay, and then also I want to get a better idea if okay na siya. But yeah, that's it for now. Hopefully that helped a lot. Yeah.
Okay, thanks Coach Seaver. For me, I just want to be honest here. I thought it was too fast because I'm really a beginner, but I guess that we need to set up some pacing here. I guess that we can talk about it on the group chat, but at the same time, those downloadable links, maybe if you don't mind, Coach Seaver, you can post it on the group, and then so that we can just download them.
I did already, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll add it after the call.
Yeah. So at least we've seen how you can deconstruct, disembowel the website, so to speak, so that we will see the goings on in the inner workings of the website. That's pretty fascinating to me, at least. Yeah. So what was it? So all announcements will be done on the group chat. And thank you, Seaver, for showing us how to navigate literally and symbolically website.
As you can see, I use a lot of Google, literally. I think throughout the entire session, how many times did I hit Google? 50. Let's say, give or take 50. All right. So ganun lang yun. Even at my level, 5 years of experience at coding, I still Google. Not kidding. And there are still some times when I look at it and I'm like, why is it not working? I don't understand. It's a very simple website, pero di ko pa rin nagigets. So that's the level of noobness, a senior engineer has. Yung strength ko lang is I already know what to Google. I already know where to look. I memorized some terms, right? I already typed style and I already understood what it was gonna do. Height, width, gets ko na kung anong ginagawa niya. Personally, I still get confused with Bootstrap sometimes. That's my admission. But because Bootstrap is there, I simply usually just look at their documentation and I try to understand. Then if there's an issue, I'm like, why is this not working? Or I completely clear the entire thing. But it takes a lot of reading. If you notice as well, kanina tingin ako ng tikin kasi hinahanap ko kung saan nagkaka-error. So guys, someone who's a career shifter can probably do better than me if they're able to memorize things a lot faster. My only strength is I've done this for 5 years. So I already understand the proper ways to, communicate with other people, how to work with other people. For now, maging individuals muna tayo, di ba? Let's code by ourselves. Let's learn these things by ourselves. But eventually, really, the hard part comes in when you have to read other people's code and try to understand their code, which is what we're kind of doing right now. We're trying to understand his code, and we realize na nagka-issue pala ako dito. So hopefully that gives you a little better insight that I'm not really the smartest guy in the world. I just literally know how to Google.
Okay, there you go. Thanks once again, Seaver. Also, sometimes we learn by applying it to the real world, right? If we were to have our own website, for instance, we have to have our content. If each one of you will have your own website, probably you'll think about, hey, what am I going to have on my website, personal website? Maybe that's where your portfolio. But we can talk about that as to what project we're gonna crystallize actually individually, and then probably we can deconstruct that later on. So that is yet to be announced. Kung ano talaga yung gagawin nating like literal website realization, right? Whether it's offering it to your neighbor, maybe kung may mga sari-sari store yung neighbor mo as your project, maybe you want to make a website for that person. Maybe we can discuss this as well, just to have a use case. But we shall know what kind of website we're gonna flesh it out, so to speak. So thanks once again, Seaver. We're actually, I think, yeah, we ran out of time for 10 minutes. And you have an appointment also. Thank you very much for sharing your time with us and your expertise and showing us how to deconstruct a website and how to navigate it actually from scratch by copying someone else's code. So guys, thank you once again. This is Techprenoys, and ask questions on the group chat, and then we'll see you there, and then we'll see you next week as well. Thank you very much. Bye for now.
Stop share and stop.